The Undead Celluloid Society welcomes you into another podcast. My name is Michael,
And I'm Rachel.
and today we are covering the 1993 film Leprechaun, aka the one with Jennifer Aniston. Leprechaun is a horror comedy about, as you could probably guess, a leprechaun that kills people because he wants to find his gold. That's pretty much the premise. They're at a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota, which Jennifer Aniston somehow thinks is New Mexico. And they are being chased by this little shitty leprechaun guy. That's the premise.
That basically sums it up.
That's it. It's like your gimmicky slasher film from the 90s. Except the slasher is a supernatural being. That's kind of a trend that you'll see like in this era of films. So the Leprechaun is basically a slasher. I will say the kills are kind of lame for the most part, except for the pogo stick one. There's a lot of neck snaps, which is like, I mean, a chiropractor could accidentally kill people like that, right?
Right, yeah.
So I mean, we'll dive right into it. Sorry that there's not much more of a synopsis than that, but that's really all this movie's about.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, Michael.
Okay, so Rachel, is there anything in this film that you liked?
That I liked. Okay, so honestly, my favorite part was Jennifer Aniston's character, her growth, like the character development, because she starts out as some Beverly Hills princess, you know.
She's a bitch.
Yeah, well,
she's a bitch.
Yeah. She is disgusted that her dad bought this rundown house in the middle of nowhere, and honestly, I'd be mad too, because you walk into that house,
pretty crappy.
There's cobwebs everywhere. And
yeah, they plan on like living there, like right then and there. I mean, it looked like it looked abandoned.
Yeah, they got there like they're staying there, and I'm like, you can't stay in there. It's a health hazard. But like, there's freaking cobwebs, and the house is falling apart. And he's like, I got it for a good deal, but like her whole attitude is just like, there's no shopping malls, like, you know, there's nowhere to get my nails done or whatever, like that.
Yeah, she's a Beverly Hills brat.
Exactly. But then throughout the course of the movie, she becomes this like badass take charge character, you know.
And she starts to care for the other characters, like not just the hot guy.
Yeah, but it's because what is his name? Nathan's hot, and she's like,
she's super into him at first, but she also shows signs to be worried about Ozzy and Alex.
Yeah, but that was probably my favorite, was that the character development of Tori, Jennifer's character. I thought she played it really well, and I always love a female badass character that doesn't die within the first 5 minutes of these, old slasher movies.
Well, hey, that one guy said this is Jennifer Aniston's best performance to date. So.
Oh my gosh, no, I love her.
She's good. I will say, I am not a fan of her attitude towards this movie.
What do you mean?
Like being embarrassed by it.
Oh, I must have
and stuff.
Out.
That's kind of crappy, I think.
But it's like one of her first movies. Like,
yeah, don't be embarrassed by it. Embrace it. People like the movie. Like,
and she didn't do a bad job.
And I mean, Warwick Davis is also in it. Warwick Davis is a great actor.
Yeah, but also the fact that like one of your very first movies, and it's probably like it got her noticed.
It did.
So don't be embarrassed by it. And like the other thing is that her acting, to me at least, was not bad. So
no, not at all.
If she's embarrassed by the story, that's not her fault. That's the writer's fault.
Yeah, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio was in. He might be in the third Critters movie.
Yeah.
I think it is. It's one of the Critters movies that he's in. And that's like one of his first movies. He's like 10 or like 12 in that. You know what I mean? And then 7 years later, he did the freaking Titanic.
Yeah, your first movie or one of your first movies isn't going to be, at least back then, when they looked for well-known names for the big movies. And I feel like they don't really do that now. I feel like they look for, like someone that's not known for big movies. But like back then, it was always the big names that they wanted. So of course, you gotta start somewhere, and she did good.
Oh, I agree. I mean, and that's a good point that you bring up, especially today versus then. Because today I had just watched Hard Eyes in theaters. Great film. Recommend watching it if you guys, it's probably not going to be in theaters much longer because it's the Valentine's horror film, and now it's March. But very good film, and it had some big names in it. It had Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son as one of the leads. Jordana Brewster, who's in almost all the Fast and Furious movies. She's in it.
Okay.
She's one of the main characters. Devon Sawa. Devon Sawa's in a lot of stuff, but Devon Sawa got to start in horror with Final Destination, so I guess you can't really count him. But I mean, there's movies with like big actors in it, like Doctor Sleep, which is a sequel to The Shining. Ewan McGregor is the main character in that. That's freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. So I mean,
I've never seen that movie, but now I want to.
Yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi is the main character in a horror film. Like we're in such a different age of like horror that like I feel like I love these movies, like these types of movies, like the fondness like of the nostalgia, because this movie looked 90s.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Your comment about
it smelled like cigarettes.
Don't these rooms look like they just smell like cigarette smoke?
They do. They looked. I mean, everyone's smoking in this movie too. Like at the cafe, they're smoking cigarettes while they're eating. And stuff. I mean, these movies smell like cigarettes. Which I say that with fondness. I look back at old stuff like this and I enjoy it. I enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't appreciate, from everything that I've seen, I don't know what she said about it recently, but the stuff that I've seen, she's had a pretty crappy attitude about the film. Because I mean, like, you can't forget your roots with stuff. I mean, someone gave you a shot at this movie. Like, that guy fought for you to be in the film. Yeah, and really, like, he didn't have to. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time,
I can get being like. And I can get being a little embarrassed. It just comes off as kind of like her character, like snobbish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, I can only speak from having never been in movies, so I can't stand on a high horse about this. Yeah. But I feel like I would love being in like a low budget movie, like that's like that, because it's like a lot of people are cool with that kind of stuff. Like Kevin Bacon was in freaking the first Friday the 13th before he was in Footloose.
Did not know that.
Yeah, he was in the first Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe she thought she didn't, like, looking back at how great of an actress she is now, maybe she just thought she didn't.
Like the role was beneath her.
Well, no, like she didn't. Like maybe she sees her acting at a certain level now and she looks back and it's like, I didn't do that good,
She, from what I've seen, she doesn't like the film at all. So it's not that great of a movie.
It's a Sci-Fi Channel film.
It released in theaters. It made some money.
I know that, but now.
I wish she had some more appreciation for it, because I do like Jennifer Aniston as an actress. I think she's great. She's great in this movie. She's great in everything that she does. I just wish that she enjoyed this film more.
Right, yeah. Like you said, appreciated her roots.
So moving on from that, love you, Jennifer Aniston. If you ever watch this for some reason, I'm not trying to hate on
odd reason.
If I'm not trying to hate on you, I'm just saying I wish you liked this movie. I wish you looked back on this point in your career
and
more fondly.
Appreciate you in this movie.
Yeah, and appreciate this, because we appreciate you in this movie. Good. The best thing about this movie for me is the freaking Leprechaun.
I know.
His makeup, S tier. It looks great.
Oh my gosh.
Practical effects. He looks creepy.
For the 90s, that was some good like FX makeup.
Yeah, there's no CG involved. I mean, there's some bad CG with him teleporting and stuff, but he looks great. Like it when shows. He gets
stabbed in the eye.
Oh yeah.
With the baton.
Yes.
And they just show it. Oh, that was
He
great.
takes that eyeball out and puts one in. Eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye.
Yeah, his Warwick Davis does not disappoint in this film. If for you listeners at home, Rachel didn't know who this was. Not calling you out on that. But this movie came a long time ago. But the Leprechaun is played by Warwick Davis, who was freaking Willow 10 years before this. Willow.
I still don't know who that is.
It's a movie.
Obviously.
It's a movie from the 80s. We'll watch it sometime. And then you'll see a big contrast between Warwick Davis and Willow and Warwick Davis and the Leprechaun. But he's great. He's awesome in this role. And that's another person that's he had a dry spell before Leprechaun, but he's a well-known actor, well-regarded. And he looks back on this role. He loves it. Like, he loves being Leprechaun.
He did great.
I'd love being the Leprechaun, too, if I was Leprechaun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anyone that wouldn't be like, oh, man, that he's such a little shit in this movie, too. Like, he's like...
He really embodied that character.
He did. I also really liked Ozzy and Alex.
Alex was such
Alex is hilarious.
Ass.
Man, he's like a kid beyond his years. He's like fixing trucks and talking about killing Leprechaun with a Magnum 357.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know he was funny. He was definitely like more mature than he looked, but at the same time, like with the things that he did, like hiding the gold, definitely still a kid.
Oh yeah. And then Ozzy swallows a piece of the gold and he goes, "Nice going, Jaws." It made me laugh so hard. Yeah, this movie I'm really glad that they decided, because originally the intent was for it to be a straightforward horror film. Mm-hmm. No comedy at all. And Warwick Davis presented some ideas to Mark Jones about changing that and having some more comedic elements to it, which I'm really glad it did, because it worked out a lot better. This would not work as a straight up horror film, I don't think. Especially because, I mean, same thing with like Chucky. Like, he's so small, they just like beat the shit out of him and like run away. You know what I mean? They don't have to.
Listen, when you watch Chucky as a child, that movie is scary. It's terrifying.
Shit. Yes, it's funny now.
I don't know. I haven't watched
the later ones. The first one's more played as a serious film, and then they get more comedic as the film's going. Like, by the time you get to Bride of Chucky, you're talking full on comedy horror at that point.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, the whole horror comedy aspect, I have a hard time getting behind, because...
Like, in general, or just like for this film?
In general.
Okay.
Because to me, at that point, it's not even a horror film. Like, it's just a gory comedy movie. Well, it's not scary.
It's kind of funny that you say that, because one of your favorite films when you were younger was Feast. And that is a horror comedy.
That is true. That one is actually scary at times, though.
I don't think so. It's silly. It's silly and super gory. Like what you just said, it's super gory and funny.
Oh man, really gonna make me eat my
words,
aren't you?
At some points. You know what I mean? That movie's kind of gross.
No, it's absolutely disgusting.
The second one is worse.
I freaking love it.
And the second one was
second one was awful.
Yeah. Oh my god. I don't even want to. Let's not talk about.
Let's not talk about. Yeah, we're getting off track.
Yeah, we're not talking about Feast. We're not talking about Feast from Leprechaun.
So okay, I guess I can't say that I can't get behind it, because Feast is literally one of my favorite movies. But I want to be scared. You know, I was not scared at all.
Like, you were scared when you were a little girl watching this.
But like the first 5 minutes of it.
Oh, fair enough.
But
you were more scared by the spiders than you were by the...
Like I told you before, though, is that it's not even the story; it's the freaking Leprechaun. Like,
he makes this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is no judgment about stories based around little people, because what's his name? Shoot, the guy that plays Tyrion Lannister.
Oh, Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, love him.
He's one of the greatest actors for our time.
I would love to meet him. But so it's when they cast small people as scary characters, like horror characters, like Elf in the Barn or Barn Elf or whatever it's called.
I don't even remember what that movie was called. The Christmas movie on Netflix. I don't remember what it's called. Did they
Barn
actually
Elf.
cast a little person for that?
I don't know, but it is showed as a little person. Like,
I see what you're saying.
yeah, that scares the shit out of me. I don't know why.
We weren't scared of Ewoks in Star Wars.
They're not scary.
They were
They're
played,
cute little teddy bears.
They were all played by. I think Warwick Davis might be in that movie too.
But that's what I'm saying is that when they're cast as scary characters, Ewoks are not scary. They're cute little teddy bears with spears.
They are cute.
But I don't know what trauma is embedded in my brain, but
I think you're scared of like tiny things that are like haunted.
Or possessed. Yeah,
like
because
Chucky
because they just disappear and reappear out of nowhere, and like they could be anywhere.
Hey,
it's not like some big hunking thing that just is hard to miss.
That's true. I mean, I don't know. I'm more scared for myself, talking about size and horror. I'm scared of bigger things. I'm scared of like things that are like way bigger than me. Like there's jump scares that have got me that are just like big people or like people that are super tall.
Maybe it's because everything is bigger than me.
I mean, me too. I'm like the shortest guy in our friend group. So
I don't know.
Yeah, I am.
But I don't know. It's just it's the little creatures that get me.
I understand. But yeah, so back to Leprechaun. I understand. I get that. I think we're both in agreement that the makeup that Warwick Davis is great in this.
Oh yeah, I mean he plays his character phenomenally.
And I think that's the thing that makes the film succeed for me is that the movie is called Leprechaun. We're here to see the Leprechaun.
Yeah.
And he shows up. He delivers.
He definitely delivers.
I can get behind some of the critics not being fans when he's not on screen. Like, I think Jennifer Aniston does a good job. I like Ozzy. I like Alex. Nathan is kind of bland for me.
He's a very bland character.
He's very bland. He's a very vanilla, like, white knight. But
he's not even the White Knight.
He's not. He isn't. But that's like what he's supposed to be, I guess. And he's just very boring. And then the other thing that kind of bugs me is her dad. They take her dad to the hospital, never comes back
until the end, the very last shot.
That's to me. I'm not the first person to call this out, but to me, that's like lazy writing. Don't have him in the movie for the rest of the time. I mean, I have a scene or two with him in it. He was the main character up to that point. And they just wrote him off.
Oh, when he got bit.
Yeah, he got bit by the cat, not cat, the leprechaun with the very obvious like drawn hole.
Who sticks their hand in a hole?
Yeah, just like without looking. Here, kitty, like put my whole entire arm in this tree tree trunk. I called it a tree cut.
But I see that he probably should have had a bigger role.
Well, this is the way they wrote him out was kind of lazy, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the filming was done at that house.
It was, and they shot it all in a month.
Yeah.
And I mean, to give this guy credit, he made a movie. I mean, before that, he was doing like television stuff. Mm-hmm. This is his first feature film.
Oh,
good for him.
Yeah,
good on him.
I mean, he was in some other. I looked him up. He was in some other movies with pretty big actors, but he's never like the main character.
Oh no, I mean the director, not the actor.
Oh,
I was saying
Mark
like
Jones.
The direction of the movie. Mark Jones. This is his first film. He did some TV stuff before this.
Yeah.
So I mean, he made a movie.
I mean,
and that's hard as shit.
He got 4 more out of it.
I don't know if he directed the other ones. We'll have to wait and see about that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't think that he did.
Well, I guess it was good enough to.
It was good enough to continue the series.
Yeah.
And people still talk about this movie. I know people that aren't fans of horror that are like, oh yeah, that Leprechaun movie either they'll say that movie is so dumb, or they'll be like, that movie scared me so much when I was a little kid. I don't get the being scared. I was never scared by this movie, but I've always enjoyed it. Like I like the low campy like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Well, that's why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think there's something to be said about when these movies come out initially, people are expecting, they have different expectations, but then the years go by, and I feel like that's when these kinds of movies really get appreciated.
horror is really infamous for that. Getting love later on when it should get it like at the time. I mean, we'll just look back at the stuff we've covered just on this podcast. I mean, how many Razzies did Blair Witch get?
Yeah.
One of the greatest scary movies of all time.
Yeah.
People get so much hate. Okay. If listeners are wondering what my favorite scary movie of all time is, it's The Thing. John Carpenter's 1982 The Thing. Perfect scary movie. Kurt Russell is fantastic in that movie. I want to be him. But that movie is excellently directed, has an excellent story, acting is phenomenal, and it's the gore is great. It's such a good movie, and it makes you so paranoid while you're watching it. That movie got so much hate when it came out; it almost made him retire from directing. And John Carpenter is one of the greatest horror directors of all time. He made freaking Halloween.
Oh.
So.
It's a good thing you know about all this stuff.
And he and people hated The Thing. It's now on most people's top lists as the greatest horror movie ever made.
Yeah.
At the time, critics hated it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about critics in that time, but it's still going to this day. And I'm really glad that Dead Meat has a horror award show that they do now. We'll have to watch it this year because it's pretty good.
Okay.
But they do presentations based on best kills, best actor, best story, things like that. But for the horror genre, and they have people from the industry come and present the awards. I think that horror has never got the appreciation that it's deserved. Because there are some genuinely really good films that just get snubbed by the Oscars because they don't care.
Yeah.
Or it's just not what they think. And they get so much hate at first, and then later on people are like, that's actually not that bad of a movie. That's a pretty good movie. So that's the one thing that I'm glad that we're seeing a change in that. We're seeing guys that can make quality horror films, quality actors want to be in horror films now. It's not just where you get your start. People can stay in that that niche. Mason Gooding has been in a lot of horror movies, and he could break out of that. He's Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son, but he seems like he likes what he's doing.
Yeah.
Not to go on a tangent with that, but yeah, horror doesn't get the appreciation that it deserves, and I think that this movie, like a lot of movies, could be in a better spot. I think I enjoyed this movie for what it is. It's not a life-changing movie. No. It's not. It's not the greatest movie of all time. It's not even close to even what I would say a good movie in a sense. But it's enjoyable. It's fun to watch. It's fun to put on with your buddies, have a beer or two, and watch.
Yeah. Okay, so what did you, going off what some of the critics said about the writing of the Leprechaun's lines, all the riddles and stuff, what did you think about that?
I will say before I say my opinion, I really hope that you don't mind the riddles because they get worse as they keep going, as the movie's going.
So bad.
I'm okay with punny humor. I'm okay with the one-liners. They don't bother me. I'm not a comedian, so I can't. I mean, I don't think it's fair for me to critique someone on jokes. I thought that some of them made me laugh.
Yeah.
Some of them I didn't have a response to, but nothing ever made me outright go, ugh, cringy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, humor, so for me. I mean, it hit or it just missed, but it didn't miss hard enough to make me want to turn the movie off.
Yeah.
What about for you?
I would probably have to say the same thing as you. Is they I found myself wishing that his riddles would end in like a very like cryptic kind of violent manner, and then he'd pop out and like bite someone's arm off or something.
Wrong
Because-
Leprechaun.
but, like they just it like you said, it wasn't scary, it wasn't funny. It was just because he's a leprechaun, so he's got to say some riddles. I feel like that was part of like the
And polish the
lazy
shoes.
and okay, that was the funniest part.
They throw the shoes at him. And he keeps like polishing them.
That
That didn't even distract him. He like teleported right there.
We need to talk about that separately. So hold on.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, he was just he was a leprechaun, so you got to throw some riddles in there, but it just didn't. It kind of missed the mark for me. But the shoes.
Yeah.
So there's one part in the movie where they're trying to get to the Jeep so that they can Jennifer Aniston's character can go to the senior citizens home to find the original owner of the house,
Mr. O'Grady.
Mr. O'Grady, who originally stole the leprechaun's gold, to ask him how to kill it. Well, run outside to the Jeep, and the leprechaun shows up and grabs Jennifer Aniston, and Nathan and Ozzy just start throwing shoes, and the leprechaun gets so distracted, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta get these shoes. Why are they throwing the shoes? I gotta shine them. They're all dirty."
Picking them up and shining them. And then he'll throw one somewhere else. He's like, and then like runs over and gets it.
That part was funny.
It didn't even distract him though. He like instantly teleports behind her car.
Yeah, no, it literally just bought her enough time to get in the Jeep and go, and then he shows up on his skateboard behind her car.
Speaking of which, the one thing I have, you touched on this for a second, Mr. O'Grady being the one that got the leprechaun's gold. He says in the beginning of the movie that he caught him and forced him to show him where the gold is. I'm watching this movie, and that leprechaun is not compliant at all. What did he do to this leprechaun to make him show him where his gold is? That leprechaun loves gold more than I love food.
He literally says that he sold his soul
for gold.
For the gold. Like, he traded his soul for the gold.
So, Mr. O'Grady, what did you do to that leprechaun?
Yeah, and then he expects him not to like come for him.
Yeah, he's like, "How did you find me?" He's like, "We people have our tricks," or something like that.
Something like that. But
yeah, oh man. So yeah, I mean, those are kind of my thoughts on Leprechaun. Like I said, there's not a whole lot in this one. There's just wait till we watch the sequels.
You get what you expect.
Yeah, you get what you expect. You expect the leprechaun to kill people. He kills people. They're kind of lame kills, except for one. The pogo stick kill is pretty gnarly.
Oh, when he jumps on the shop owner?
The shop owner in his like basement or something.
Yeah, wherever he is. But yeah, that one was pretty gnarly.
It was. It like that was good. Other than that, they're like neck snaps for the most part. There's some decent like gore effects.
Yeah.
But for a movie made for $900,000, you get what you get.
Yeah.
Most of that money had to probably go to paying Warwick Davis to be in the movie and also his makeup. I can't imagine how much it cost to like do his makeup.
Yeah.
His makeup had to have been like a quarter of the budget.
Because they had to do it for every...
They had to do it every time, yeah.
Yeah, and he said it took like an hour or
3 hours.
3 hours,
It took them 40 minutes to take it off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he said he would get so bored, so he would have like these
weird-ass conversations with his makeup artist.
Yeah.
Gabe Bartalos is his makeup artist. Gabe Bartalos is well known in the horror community. We'll see his work in other movies.
Yeah, and can I just say something else? My last thought on this
is
I'm so glad. Oh, you know what? I can't even say that because there's more movies to come. But one thing I seriously hate about the horror movie genre is that they have to make the characters make dumbass decisions to keep the plot going.
Yeah, you were pretty frustrated with that.
Because they're trying to use Nathan's beat up truck to get out of there and it's not working, so they run back in the house. There's a perfectly good Jeep right there. And then, so after they take Jennifer Aniston's character's dad to the hospital and go back to the house and everything starts happening, and Nathan gets his leg caught in the bear trap, they take him inside instead of taking him to the hospital.
They do. They really should have took that guy out of the hospital. He looked like he was losing a lot of blood.
Yeah, so like it just I hate when I understand I totally logically understand that they have to do these things to keep the story going, because if they just took him to the hospital, like what are you going to do with that? You know, the leprechaun, the gold is at the house. It keeps it going by them staying at the house.
Yes.
But it just irritates me, and I'm like, no, take the Jeep, or don't leave the house, or leaving Alex in the house by himself. He's safe. No, he's not. The leprechaun got in the house like 3 separate times.
Yeah, he's like teleports all over the freaking place.
They lock the door. Like, what is that going to do for you? But just it that's one thing that my logical brain has a hard time wrapping around.
That's a common trope in horror films around this time.
I know.
It's something that Scream is going to parody in 3 years from this. So this is 93. Scream comes out in 96. The horror movie tropes are they're a thing, and people do that. And it's to me, and I want to again mention that Mark is is like his first feature film almost. I mean, he's done some other writing stuff, but it seems kind of like, and for other directors, not hating on other directors for doing this, but to me, the stupid decisions doing that kind of stuff seems like lazy writing. Like they don't have a way to get them to where they want to go, so they just make them stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because otherwise, it's like, that's a creepy noise in the basement. I'm like, I'm not going down there. Movie over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I would love to see a horror movie where the person is like, I'm not stupid. I'm not going down into that basement where weird stuff's going on.
At some point, we'll cover it. It's not really a lower budget movie, but we should just so that you can see like an appreciation for this. It's Cabin in the Woods.
You and Trish are talking about that all the time.
Yeah, we'll cover it at some point. Chris Hemsworth's in it. So it's
naturally I have to see it.
Naturally, you have to see it. Yeah. No, it has an interesting take on the stupid characters thing, which I think you'll appreciate. So we'll eventually cover that. But yeah, so back to Leprechaun. These are kind of our thoughts when it comes to Leprechaun. As you see, we're keep going off on tangents on other stuff.
This one's got us thinking about so many other things.
It does. I would say if you are a horror fan and you like camp, I would recommend this film.
Would you?
To someone that likes campy horror films. If you're looking for a straight up horror film, you're not going to like this.
No, not at all. I completely 100% agree with that recommendation.
If you don't like silliness, you're not going to enjoy this movie. But that being said, I personally enjoyed the film. I would say that, when it comes to recommendations, I'd watch it with my friends.
Yeah.
But I know my friends, and I know that they would like it.
I didn't hate it. I, like you said, for someone who enjoys the campy horror movies, give it a watch. I feel like everybody's take on this, no matter what you like, would be different.
Absolutely.
I don't think I'd watch it again.
No, it's pretty boring.
I don't think I'd watch it again unless it was like we were in March, as we are, and just feeling a St. Patrick's Day vibe for some odd reason.
Well, having watched all of the other Leprechaun movies, I will tell you this is not my favorite one.
Okay, so I have something to look forward to.
Yeah, you'll know when we get to the best one.
But you're so much more of a campy lover than I am.
You will like. Okay, okay. So I will tell you this. This is just going into it. Leprechaun 3 is my favorite.
Okay, don't say anything about it.
I'm not going to. I will say 3 is my favorite. Then the 2018 remake or requel, the one that's the sequel to this one.
Mm-hmm.
The worst one is the 2014 Origins film.
As far as story or
no, in general, it's the worst one.
Okay.
Then I would probably put this one after that. Honestly.
What about the second one?
Second one isn't bad. I mean, you'll see.
Okay.
Second one, is okay. It's a little. The characters are a little more interesting in that one, and the fourth one's in space. So,
yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that one. So you guys have something to look forward to at the end of the month.
Yeah. So if we didn't mention this at the beginning, but this month is St. Patrick's Day themed. So we're doing Leprechauns 1 through 4, which is Leprechaun, Leprechaun 2, Leprechaun 3, and Leprechaun 4 in space. But yeah, so we'll get into our rating now. What we think. For me, going vacation wise, I'm not going to say going to New Mexico. I mean North Dakota, because Jennifer Aniston has no idea where she is apparently in this movie. I would say that this is like a trip to your grandparents' house, in the sense of like it's old, musty, like you get it, but there's a familiarity there. There's like a sense of comfort, like a sense of that everything's going to be okay. You're enjoying your time there, but it is old. It's kind of, like there's some cobwebs there, cigarette smoke here, it's like just like a visit to like an old time place. So that's why I say grandparents, because grandparents are old.
Mm-hmm.
Just reminds me of like hanging out with my grandparents like in the early 2000s, in a sense. Early 2000s, like 90s.
I can relate.
What about for you, Miss Rochelle?
I'm gonna kind of I'd say like taking a road trip across America and finding one of those old towns. They got the old diners, and there's like one gas station, one diner, maybe an old time movie theater,
Okay.
and like the mom and pop grocery stores.
Oh, small town.
It's very small, like smaller than Lost Creek, West Virginia.
Oh yeah, Lost Creek, West Virginia, baby.
But just going to a town like that and seeing, it's almost like you kind of get to see how life was back then. Because not much is updated, blah blah blah, besides maybe like electronics and shit. But just that old time vibe, kind of like how you said with going to your grandparents. It's slow. It's just chill.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And you've seen it once, and then you move on.
Okay. I respect that. Is this a Trisha film?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely.
We both agree.
Sorry, Trisha, you have no idea that we're doing this.
Yeah. If she ever listened to it, she'd know.
Her loss.
Our listeners know more about her than she probably would care to.
Knows more about her regarding our podcast than she does, because she listened to 5 minutes of the 5 minutes,
the first 3 episodes. Yeah, she's like, I listened to the first 3 minutes. Like,
what
thanks,
a supportive
dog.
sister I have.
Yeah, very supportive. But yeah,
I mean, in her defense, before this, I have listened to maybe one movie review, so like
that's true. Now we're doing them. So now here we are.
Can't exactly blame her.
But I listen to movie reviews. So shout out to you guys that do movie reviews. You guys are awesome. But yeah, we thank you guys so much for listening in. Please give us a like, subscribe, share it with your friends if they like scary movies. I mean, if you want to call this a scary movie, it's if you like, if people like camp, like dumb stuff, we talk about dumb stuff. We talk about scary stuff. We just talk kind of a little bit about everything when it comes to horror. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening. We love you. Please give us a like, subscribe. But until next time, my name is Michael,
and I'm Rachel,
and we are the Undead Celluloid Society. Thank you very much for listening.